All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Cozy and Connected podcast. I am here today with another conversation with, this time, a stranger from the internet. So we have Sahara
Stranger
Leigh.
danger.
Yes, we're all safely in our own homes, though, so it's okay. No, Sahara Leigh is here today to interview me. I think we're going to talk about clutter / whatever else she wants to talk about. But first, Sahara, why don't you introduce yourself to me and the audience?
Awesome. Thanks for having me today. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited that you've shifted over to clutter because I love me some clutter conversations. But yeah, I'm Sahara Leigh and I am a soul alchemist, which when I'm really polite, I tell how I help people just shift into a higher perspective. But when I'm not so polite, and I feel like your podcast is super laid back, I just say that I turn people's shit into gold.
Yes. Oh my God, I love it. That's so good. That's
we
so
all
good.
have so much shit.
That's like perfect branding. I'm the soul alchemist. I turn shit into gold.
Yeah. You gotta like read the room though sometimes because some people are like,
yeah, I'm usually
thank you,
oblivious.
goodbye.
I'm just out and about swearing my face off, and you know, people are bothered. I don't really notice.
Yeah. So yeah, I essentially I think that the bag that we've been handed in this lifetime is such a gift. I think falling flat on our faces is a gift, and it's just opportunities to grow and to become more aligned and more connected to ourselves and to the people around us, and just setting a really good example for those around us. The more we can alchemize our own shit, the more we give other people permission to alchemize theirs. And instead of going into depression, going into that enlightenment aspect of just like, yeah, I am horribly flawed and human and it's a shit show, but it's also really fucking amazing and beautiful and magical, and it can be both. Dualism is a thing.
I love it. Oh my gosh, so good. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm just going to turn the microphone over to you to ask me whatever you want, and we can just chat.
Yeah, sounds good. So I really like that you've shifted over to cluttering, but how has that been for you? Because I know that when you are seen as a leader of any sort, but especially it seems like in the like self-help spiritual world, people are real attached to their idea of who you are, who they think you should be. So I'm curious to hear what kind of like pushback or experience you had, not just with other people, but also with that like self, that little voice inside when you were like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Like I heard you say on one of your podcasts, you were just like, I'm done with this like life coach BS. So how has that been for you?
Yeah. So I will say that 100% of the pushback has been my own brain and like within myself. Like and I talk about this a lot, right? Like I did a whole live stream series about becoming unfuckwithable, right? Like people know I don't give a shit what their opinions are. I mean, to be really honest with you, like that's sort of my brand, my alignment, so thankfully it's only, I think I attract supportive, awesome people. And if ever there are not supportive, awesome people, I don't really pay them any mind. And so, attracting amazingly supportive people into my life, it's only been positive. And I will say the same thing happened when in a circumstance where I would have expected more pushback. So when I left like my regular full-time job to become a coach, I mean, I want to say 95% of the people I told were just like really excited for me and like not putting on me like all of there were some like worries, concerns, but it really wasn't that strong. And I just think I am a person who people know that they can share their opinion with me, but I'm ultimately going to do whatever feels right for me. So within myself, I think I was like oblivious to the change until it smacked me in the face. So I didn't have as much worry and concern about it. I sort of let myself get more burnt out on the life coaching than I thought I was going to be. And I will say over the years, I have practiced following my intuition more quickly. So whereas someone could let themselves get burned out for like years, I would say I was probably in that kind of burnout phase for a couple of months. Like it wasn't a super extended period of time, but then it was just like a couple of things happened in quick succession where the idea of decluttering came up and I got so excited about it. And I was like, I haven't felt this excited about my coaching in a while, and that's not good. And something that I teach people is that like you can smash the patriarchy. You can be radical by being yourself no matter what you're doing. So like for me, this feels further away from that, from like something super like being a women's empowerment coach versus a decluttering coach, right? Like one feels a little bit closer to a mission of manifesting world peace. But what I've always said is you can do that no matter what your job is, like no matter what you do to make money, no matter what you do, if you're doing what lights you up and what aligns you, you are actually helping the world get closer to that peace, love, and joy. And so I had to take my own advice and recognize that like, yes, I still have life coaching clients and I like that, but I don't want to talk about it all the time. And like I have a friend who was a manifestation coach and she recently transitioned into being like an energetics coach for business owners. And she was like, I just felt like I had said everything I wanted to say about manifestation. And I was like, oh my God, that is exactly, like there's only so many ways I can teach people to set boundaries and I can talk about manifestation. It's like, I've been doing it for a couple of years now. And it's like, go listen to the podcast. Like it's all in there. Go buy the old courses. They're all in there. Like all that information is there for you. I'm just like, I'm done fucking talking about it every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think that the way the business of life coaching, spiritual aspects has been put out is it has to be one way. Like this is the way. You have to do a funnel, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. And I know for me, I am not interested in that shit at all. I have no desire to follow that prescription. And that in and of itself essentially makes me not want to do what I do. So it's like I've had to completely let go of that. And so many people show up and say like, no, you got to do it this way. Or you need to be every day, you need to be talking to your audience. And I'm like, no, that's gonna suck my soul. And that's not going to help me help. Like if I'm going out of my own authenticity to sell myself, then I'm selling the wrong thing. Like what I'm really trying to sell is authenticity. So I'm trying to teach people to be more authentic.
Yes. And that's like, that was part of the way the universe sort of like nudged me in this direction is I took an online course, which the coach was giving in total integrity. And like, I don't think there was anything wrong with what she was teaching, but it wasn't aligned for me. It was like, like make sure you put out content every single day. And like, it's like life hacks of like repurpose the content and like all of that stuff, which is fine. But I was like, I don't want to. And then I was in this community with 200 other women who were also women's empowerment coaches. And so that's something that I've learned is like, yes, we can like mindset the shit out of anything and we can look at abundance and we can see people doing the same things that we do as abundant and there's enough for all of us. But also like we're making it hard for me. I was making it really hard on myself to be around 200 other people that do the same thing that I do. Like, when we've been brought up in a scarcity mindset, especially when it comes to business, right? Like, especially like there's only so much money, there are only so many clients, there's only so much whatever, which I don't ultimately believe is true, but it's a lot harder to fix your mindset around that when you're constantly in front of hundreds of other people that do what you do. So something I'm taking into this next phase of my business, like I'm not networking with decluttering coaches. Like I'm not out there trying to get to know every declutterer, right? Like I know what I'm doing. Decluttering was actually part of my business since I started. It was just kind of more on the side. So I'm like, I have the skills. I know what I'm doing. I now know enough about business from what I've learned over the past couple of years of running my business that I can apply to this, that I don't need to go and surround myself with everyone doing exactly the same thing that I'm doing, because it's just going to fuck me up.
Yeah. And essentially, those people are already vibing in the same way, and you're looking to expand your community.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
not narrow it.
Exactly. Yes.
And get everybody's input on exactly how you should be doing everything.
Yeah, no, we don't want input. And also, like, every business coach who teaches like a method and it's like, this is the method, I'm like, that's the method that was in alignment for them. That was the method that flowed for them, that felt really good for them. And they teach it to others. And yeah, it's going to work for some others too, but it's not going to work for everyone. Like, the ultimate truth is you're going to find your own way of things that work for you. Like, for example, I was hitting my head against a wall trying to like sell to clients and like find clients. And then I switched to decluttering, and it was like, over the first couple of weeks, it was like client. And I was like, I didn't do anything. Like, I was just like talking to people. Like, I was like networking to get to know people. And it was like, oh, here's this, here's that, and I've gotten better at making offers and like doing that. And I'm not going to say that like, that's helpful, but it's like when you are actually in alignment with what you really want to do, like, things just work out so much better.
Yeah, you exude it.
Mm-hmm.
It just like comes right out of your pores, and people are like, give me some of that.
Yes, exactly.
Pheromones.
Yes.
Pheromones for decluttering.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we first connected, I had said to you, because you were talking about this shifting over to decluttering, and I've always said that people's external world is a direct reflection of their internal world. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's true. I don't think that means that you have to have everything perfectly organized and clean all the time in order to be happy. In fact, I think striving for that can really, again, like, fuck you up, because you just get these perfectionistic tendencies about it. Like, and I do like a digital decluttering subscription for people over like a video chat app. And I was just showing, one of my clients, like, here, this is how I had this organized. It's not perfect. It's kind of messy, but it's like, what's your tolerance level for that, right? Like, is it, I need to have, one surface clear in every single room, and like, that'll make me feel good? Is it, I just need to have things put away, but maybe things don't need to be perfectly clean? Is it like, yeah, I can deal with some mess on the table? For me, I can deal with the mess. And what decluttering has really helped me do is, in an hour, I can make everything look pretty freaking clean and spick and span, right? It's like, it's not going to be an all-day project to get things back in order. Like, I have a space for things. I know where they go. That doesn't mean if stuff stacks up on a table that I'm going to like hate myself for it, right? So I think especially when it comes to clutter specifically, it is a direct reflection, because if you don't know what you have, your subconscious knows. Like, it remembers fucking everything. It knows that you don't know what's in that closet and it's a mess, and it like will stress you. It will be this little stressor in your brain that you don't even notice until, that's why when people get rid of stuff and they clean and organize, why it feels so fucking good, because it's like, now we have looked at it. It's like shadow work, right? It's like, now we have looked at it. We know what we have. We've gotten rid of what we don't want. We've kept what we want, and we have it in a place where the next time I need to find something, I will easily know where it is. And it's like these little things. I talk about decision fatigue all the time. These little things that drain the shit out of you. And you're like, I can't find my keys. I can't find that book. I can't find that thing. I have to spend 5 minutes looking for this every day. Like, ugh, like, when I can't find something, it drives me crazy, because I'm like, I know where all my shit is. Like, why can I not? Like, it happens so rarely now. And so clearing that stuff out, like, it has an impact on you, whether or not you think it does. Why when you declutter and organize, you feel lighter. because the energy is pulling you down. And you can be a maximalist. You can have a lot of stuff, but know what you have and know where it is and know that you've chosen it and know that you love it and know that it represents who you are now rather than like a past or future version of yourself.
Yeah. That's the thing that I always am talking about with like my clients is like the things weigh you down if you don't have a reason for having them. If you're just, and that's what I mean with like the external matches the internal. Like if you're not able to let go of like this tea strainer because you don't even know, I can't let it go, you know, and you see that look on people's face, like, bitch, I will cut your arm off if you try to take this from me. And it's the same thing when you're doing energy work with somebody, you know, people want to hang on to old stories about themselves, and I really feel like those are reflective. Like if you can't let go a pair of socks that have holes in them because your grandmother gave them to you and she passed away, like you're not going to be able to let go of the belief system that your grandma gave to you that you don't want to let go because it's keeping you safe.
Yes. And so we talked about this a bit in a previous episode with Harumi. We talked about releasing identities, and that's why it's hard to let go of things, because you attach your physical things to these identities that may or may not be who you actually are anymore, right? Like for me, it was around, you know, finding and then, you know, kind of letting go that identity of airy fairy feminist, right? Like that was really meaningful and that was amazing. And that was, you know, the first iteration of my business and it meant a lot. But to release it, I had to realize this is not who I am. Like this is not me. And now my stuff is like my name, but it's still not it's still separate from me. Like I am Charlotte Kaye and like that's my business, right? Like it is separate. And so we'll come up against that a lot when getting rid of things, right? It's like, you know, oh, but my body used to be a different shape, right? And so these used to fit and I loved them so much. Like, well, now maybe they make you feel like shit. So like, maybe let's not have them around, right? Like no matter up or down, whatever, right? It's like, it's not making you feel good now. And again, every time you see that in your closet and you remember, oh, you're like beating yourself up every time.
You're also setting yourself up to be that size again. Being like, I'll keep this because I loved it. And what if I end up putting the weight back on? Or what if I end up losing the weight again? And then you're holding yourself to an ideal that it's not you anymore.
Yeah. And this is, and like and I'm totally fine with like hacking the ego for things too. It's like, fine, you don't want to go with your intuition. Like if you change weight again, don't you want to go shopping? Like, don't you want to buy something new rather than this old crusty pair of jeans that like isn't in style anymore, right? Like, because that happens too. People will wait and then maybe they do, you know, change weight and it would fit again, but it's like, no, it's not their style anymore. Like we change and evolve. So especially if you're listening to this podcast and you do personal development, you change and evolve so much. So find a new pair of jeans, or if they're a brand that you like just take note of the brand, go on Poshmark, you can find the exact same freaking ones. Like it's fine. Also it's just pants. And I love my clothes, right? Like I only have what I really, really like, right? So when things get worn out, I will admit, this shirt, people who are listening, it's from Old Navy. It's just like a snow leopard, fleecy, whatever. It's really soft and it's really cute and I like it a lot. And I bought 3 of them because I know I will wear the shit out of them. And I want it to feel fuzzy and soft every time I wear it. So once it's done, I will donate it and that's fine. Or if next winter comes around, I'm like, oh man, I bought 3 of those and I really only used 2 of them, then I'll still donate the other one and it's fine. Like there are no fucking rules. Like you can do whatever. I also get this is a total tangent, but I get really annoyed when I see articles that are like closet staples. Like you must have a black skinny jean. You must have a trench coat. Like, we don't fucking like trench coats. Like, don't listen. We get so caught up and then we buy all these things that we don't really want. Like, I own one skirt. Like, you don't need to have skirts. Like, if you don't want them, if you don't like them, for me, it's like the stress of what do I put with this? Like, I never know. So I'm like, my bottoms are all very basic and plain. And then my tops are different and I just put them together and that's it. Right.
Yeah.
Like, figure out your own rules, like figure out what works for you, because you will spend a lot of money and energy buying these things that you don't actually need because some article told you to, or, you know, the freaking Instagram ads or whatever, right?
Yeah. I think everybody needs their own staple. You know, like your go-to comfort, your go-to dress up, your go-to, I don't have to think about this. I know this looks good on me. I know I feel like a fucking supermodel rock star badass in it. But yeah, telling people they need a certain thing.
Yeah.
And so I was traveling for like 4 solid years, and I was mostly, my plan was to chase the sun. I kept ending up in Scandinavia. I was like, yo, in the winter, not even in the summer.
I love it.
So I moved from like Hawaii. I'd left from Hawaii. And so I had all these dresses, like cute little sundresses. And I love cute little sundresses. And my staple ended up becoming this sundress. And I just get wool tights and big boots.
Nice.
And like a sweater. And that's how I roll. And I love it. And on days when I'm not wearing something like that, I'm kind of like, I need my sunshine, even if it's like December and there is no daylight. I need my sunshine, and that just might be a really flirty sundress. And Sweden has great houses. That's where I was living the last year, and there's always super warm. So I would be rocking like my little like cover up sundresses around the house because it would be like 85 in the house.
I love it.
Awesome.
Yes. And like, that's why I'm such a proponent for minimalism, kind of like, I want everything in your closet to make you feel that way. Right. Like, and it might be different iterations of like, here's my like comfy, sexy, cool. Here's like just but it's like your sweatpants should make you feel just as hot as like a little black dress, right? Like I have these sweatpants from Target and I wear them all the time, and I wear them with like a little I'm very into like the high-waisted pant, like cropped like shirt kind of dealy, or like knotting up a shirt. Like I feel fucking hot in that. It doesn't matter what it is. Like it could be a pencil skirt, it could be sweatpants, and it feels really good. So like what was the concept I started teaching was like, look hot and flow, right? And like that can mean whatever it means to you, right? Like I said, I feel really hot in sweatpants, and like not everyone's gonna feel that way, but it's not for anyone else. It's just for you, because like looking hot, there is just like that vibe where you just like you're like feeling yourself, and you're like, and there's like, that is not to be diminished, right? I used to think as like a feminist, like that shouldn't matter, look shouldn't matter. It's like, but it's how you feel. So if we can use the patriarchy to like feel better about ourselves, let's do it, because that's not always how it fucking works, right?
Yeah, years ago. So I stopped wearing makeup years ago, and then went to India. I was interning at a hospital in India, and the women wouldn't let me leave the hospital without putting on makeup.
Oh my God.
And I was like, why am I doing this? And they were just like, it's for you. It's for you. Like, it's for you to feel beautiful. And India is it's such a great example of that, with all the colorful fabrics. And I mean, you can just wrap yourself in 13 yards of glorious fabric. Yes, please. And I really like, that's something that really stuck with me is, you know, I do this for me. I don't really do this for anybody else, because I do find that as women, oftentimes, you know, if we get dressed up, we want to be seen. And sometimes it's like, no, somebody, I don't know if it was a meme or a sound clip or something, but in the last few weeks, I read or heard something where a woman was like, I got dressed up in my nicest clothes to go to the grocery store today, just because I wanted to feel human, because I haven't been going out. I haven't been socializing. And that is something I really enjoy about like the 40s and the 50s, that the like opulence that women had every day, you know?
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah. And I think like that's where it becomes about choice, right? Because like I'm sure there are people in the 40s and 50s that are like, this feels fucking oppressive that I have to wear all this stuff all the time, right? And I think we're living in a time where, yes, absolutely, there are still like standards and stereotypes and like ways that people believe that women should or shouldn't dress, right? But I think also now we have the luxury of putting that on or not, right? And like enjoy it when you do, and there's nothing wrong with enjoying it. And like, yeah, maybe it's the patriarchy in your subconscious, probably is, right? But at the end of the day, if it makes you feel good, then go with it, right?
Yes.
Like I would do, I mean, during like quarantine, it's like I would just put bright lipstick on, to feel human, and wear jeans to feel human, and like put on actual clothes because it at the very least like would mix the day up, right? Like rather than feeling like Groundhog's Day, like every day is the same, like put on a different something. And of course you could change out of it in 2 seconds, like whatever. But if you're feeling stuck, like you can use your clothes and makeup or doing your hair or whatever to get yourself out of a rut, put yourself in a different state of mind. Because like I said, these things all have energy, right?
Yeah, actually this morning, so I'm visiting a friend out in Washington who had a baby, and she's like carted this baby around, and she was like, "Can you come out and just carry my baby for a week?" And she rolled into the kitchen this morning full on like Cyndi Lauper. She has this like push-up tutu dress on with these long dangly earrings with her like mama boobs all shoved up, and I was just like, damn girl. And it, and I don't wear makeup very often, if ever, and I was just like, ooh, you've inspired me. I think I might put some lipstick on today. It's so fun.
Love it. Yeah, it is so fun.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that you can create your own energy, and just the more you steep in your own desires, the more you're going to manifest more and more magic in your life.
Totally.
So you just bought a house, not just, but relatively recent, yes?
A few years ago.
So that's the thing I'm really working, not like buying a house, but I have not had like a home of my own in years.
Yeah.
And I have been hardcore, like my body is like, bitch, find a place. So I am curious if when you found your home, like what changed, or what did you experience that shifted within you? Like what did you let go of, and also what did you feel like really you grounded into?
Yeah. So it's funny. I was just talking to a friend who's a real estate agent. And we were looking up, I always recommend this episode, but I actually know the episode number. So it's episode 37 for anyone who's interested. It's all about how I manifested my house. And for me, which I don't think, again, like if you don't ever want to have a house, that's fine. Like if you want to have someone who is responsible for coming and fixing your shit, like totally cool, like rent your whole life. I don't care, whatever. For me, I have always known that I wanted a house because I'm really into interior design. I'm into being able to like paint and like make things exactly how I want them to be. And from renting, for until I was 25 or 26 or something, that's not always worth it. Like, yes, of course you can paint things back and do all that, but there's some things you're just like not allowed to do if you're renting a space.
Like tear down a wall.
Right. And so for me, I knew I wanted to have a house. Another thing that really helped me was, when I moved, so I'm from Southeast Michigan. I'm from a city called Farmington Hills. I moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan for college. I went to the University of Michigan. And like from the time that I've been in this area, I've like known it felt like home to me, right? Like I would go on vacation places and I would always be open to like, maybe I'll like some other place better, Chicago, Sydney, San Francisco, like all these different places, but every single time I've always been like, okay, I'm ready to go back home now, right? And like home always is here. So for me, that helped because, of course you can buy and sell houses, but if you think you're going to be in an area for a while, buying a house, right, is like a little bit easier. If you're not thinking about moving all the time. I also am like not interested in having kids, so I'm like won't need to like upgrade at any point. So foreseeably, potentially this house could be my forever house. Like I'm always open to things changing, but I really, really like it. And at the time I was very steeped in like I was very focused on manifesting a house, right? And so for me, what that meant was constantly appreciating where I currently was, like appreciating my apartment and everything that I loved about it, and continuing. This is like when I first started learning manifestation, this was always my question of like, okay, if we can access any emotions that we want, right? And like, if we can feel whatever we want to feel, like, why do I actually need this like physical thing to manifest that. And so I would sort of talk to my intuition about it. I'm trying to remember what it said. It was just like, I'm sure it was just like about expansion and like playing and like the next level and whatever. And then it just manifested in this really magical way. I had already decluttered everything in my apartment. So I'm sure I probably took the opportunity to declutter more, but I don't remember exactly. I also did not buy anything for my house until I moved into it. I just think it's kind of like, yeah, like little decor maybe, but like if you don't know what your setup's going to be like, you don't know where things are going to be. Like, and I was going from a 2-bedroom, 1,000 square foot apartment to a 3-bedroom with a basement, you know, what is it? 15, might be 1,500 square feet or something like that. So I had more space and I knew I was going to have more space. Right. But I still got rid of things I didn't need. And then the other suggestion I have, and this is also from listening to, so I don't know if you ever listened to the Lively show. It's a podcast. But she basically, she doesn't have a home either. She was traveling for a long time, like a digital nomad kind of situation like yours. And when she did, she rented an apartment in Sydney for a while. And she just like, of course she like got a bed, right? And like the things, but then she just like slowly like allowed things to manifest and fall into place in terms of like furniture and items. And I think that would be my biggest advice for people moving is like, don't feel like you have to fill the whole space right away. Cause then you're just going to buy stuff that you're like, yeah, this works. Let's just throw it in there. But like, if it's not something you actively need every day, like everyone probably now needs a desk and a chair and a bed, right? TV for me, someone put your TV on, whatever. But like everything else, you can just like let it fill in. And as you actually need it, buy it, right? As opposed to like, I think I'll need this and I think I'll need that. Cause I think you just end up buying things out of alignment and spending money on not the right things. So
I think that's kind of something that's come about from society. Like we've been taught to have everything planned, have everything like you're supposed to just magically have it all figured out right from high school, really. Cause you walk in, what is it, 10th or 11th grade, you walk into your guidance counselor and they're like, so what do you want to do with your life? And you're like, I'm 15. I want to eat cake for breakfast. Yes. I probably shouldn't be making future life decisions right now.
I still want to eat cake for breakfast.
Oh, like, I sometimes do. That's actually on my website is like at the top. It says, I need some advice. And then it's like me eating ice cream for breakfast. You've come to the right place.
Yes. I love it. That's so
but
good.
Like I've done a lot of work to embrace the idea that I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. And there is a lot of external pressure from the world to have it all figured out. And it's like, why do I want to pigeonhole myself into something that I might not want? And I think that that's kind of, I know I want a home base. I just can't have it yet. And I'm getting real grumpy about it.
Wait, why can't you have it yet?
Well, because I'm like, I have residency papers in for Sweden. So I'm kind of like in limbo. We don't know how long that'll take. And in the in-between, I'm just kind of floating and I'm tired of floating. Like I want to have like all the things in one place. I want to have my full closet. I want, you know, and you don't realize how much you miss that until you don't have it for an extended period of time. And really, I've had pockets, not even like this is probably last year before I left for Sweden, I got all of my stuff at my parents' house for the first time in something like 9 years. Everything I owned was in one place. In theory, I had already shipped like 2 boxes to Sweden. So it was minus 2 boxes. And but it's that being like, oh, everything, every piece of me, because I do like the things that I have are things I love. I have done so much clearing that if I don't love it, I don't have it. I got a story for like my closet. No joke. I can wear a different thing every day for 6 months and never cross-pollinate.
Love it.
But I have like a story about each and every piece of clothing in there. I adore it. Just looking at it brings me joy. It's like, this is my artwork.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's so that was something else I did. When you're like in between, right? You know, you're going somewhere else, but you don't know when, and you don't know how exactly it's going to happen. Right. And so I think for me, and just kind of like manifestation advice in general, and you probably know this, but like for people listening, it's like, why do you want that thing? Like, what do you really want to feel? I can imagine that you want to feel grounded and settled, and like everything that is yours is at your fingertips, right? And so like interrogating those feelings and asking why until you get to the feelings, and then asking yourself, like, how can I feel grounded right now? Like maybe meditating makes you feel grounded, maybe going for a walk in nature makes you feel grounded, because it's the same. You want to manifest the thing because you think it's going to give you the feeling. So you want to get into the feeling as much as possible so that the thing can manifest, right? So you can be at the same vibration as it. And it's like, I'm kind of like going back to basics in terms of like, I'm re-listening to the first manifestation class I ever took. I'm listening to lots of Abraham Hicks, right? I'm like just getting back to like meditating every day and focusing again more on the feeling, because I feel like we can get so into manifestation. And then especially in the life coaching world, it's like manifest 10K months and manifest clients and like all these things. But really manifestation is about the fucking feeling. It's about how do you think you're going to feel when you get those things? So it's focusing on feeling the way you want to feel, and who fucking cares how the details fill in, right? Like it doesn't matter, because you're going to feel the things you want to feel. So that's what I'm sort of like refocusing on in my own world, because I'm also like sick of personal development, but also I'm like doing it a lot still. But it's more fun because I am getting back to, and I'm getting back to like that intuition, right? Because I think I'm really grateful to the first manifestation class I took, again, is from Jess Lively, this woman. And it was all about redirecting everything to your own intuition. It was not like, wake up at this time, do this thing, and you will feel better. It was about what is right for you. And so I think that's what I've always done with my clients. That's what I'm getting back to with myself and my friends. Like, I don't have the fucking answers for you. Like, I never have. Like, no one else does.
Nope.
So if you see this formula that you think is going to be your answer, you better ask your intuition if it's really your answer.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just chasing other people's ideas of how things work, and it might not be, it's right for them probably, but it might not be right for you.
Yeah. That's one thing I've heard you talk about before is, like, I process by speaking, and I ask lots of people questions, and I'm not necessarily looking for you to answer my question, but I like to hear things reflected and feel how it hits me. And I think that that's a really valuable process that, again, society has kind of turned us off from, because it's like, you either, what is it called, an asshole, when you're the type of person who asks all the questions and for like all this advice and then never does it, you're an asshole.
Oh my God.
And it's like, no, I just needed to hear myself say the things.
Yeah.
And then I needed to hear you say the things so I could be like, yeah, I like your things, or I don't like your things at all.
And listen, I think being an asshole, that's a great phrase. I've never heard that before. Being an asshole is fine. Just don't complain about it after. Because I've been on the other side where I get asked advice, or I give, in the past more so, give unsolicited advice. But then people don't follow it, and then they complain back to me. And I'm like, no, this is now off. This is now off the table for us, because I've told you how to fix it, and you don't. And that's fine. You can do whatever you want, but I'm not talking to you about it anymore.
Yeah, there does come to a point where, like, I will support people through lots of things, but if you're actively choosing to just keep making the same decision, I'll talk to you about your belief work and why you consistently make this decision, but I'm not going to talk to you about the same, like, and then he did this again, and it's like, you knew this, like, let's figure out why you're staying in this job, in this relationship, in this place, like. That's more interesting to talk about, but you're killing me right now, Smalls, with this shit.
Oh my God, exactly.
Shut up.
Yep, I can so relate to that. Do you follow human design at all?
A little bit, yeah.
Do you know what you are?
I forget. Wait, no. I just did this like 2 weeks ago.
I can list them if that helps.
A connector.
No. Projector?
No.
Projector, generator,
No,
manifesting generator, reflector. I think those are all of them.
Oh, I think it's something different, that it's like 16 different things.
Oh, okay, maybe something else.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like Myers-Briggs probably. Okay, never mind. Whatever, tangent, doesn't matter. I was just gonna see if we were the same thing, because so in human design, being a projector, you tend to be the person who you're the point is to wait for the invitation to be asked for advice, because usually you have really good advice to give. You can kind of see how all the things are working together and give good advice, but people don't listen to it unless they actually ask you for it. If you give it unsolicited, it tends to not be listened to, which I very much relate to that. But anyways, any last questions for me before I take the mic back?
No, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This is wonderful. You're an excellent interviewer. Please tell the people how they can work with you, how they can connect with you, free things, paid things. Tell us all the things.
Pretty much everything, every way to connect to me is through my website, Holistic Mojo. Up at the top right-hand corner, there's all the little icon things that lead you to my YouTube, to my Etsy shop, to my Instagram, to there's probably more things there. I have no idea. There is a free program on my website. If you go into offerings and then into the mind section, right there at the top, it's 30 days to mindfulness. And that is a free program that you just do 30 days of really simple things every single day to make you question. And this is really good for decluttering, because it's things like, are you an over and under with your toilet paper? And noticing and like flipping it around and being like, do I do it this way because I like it? Or do I do it this way because my mom did it this way?
Oh my God, I love that. Everyone, okay, I might have to sign up. Everyone go sign up for that.
Yeah.
That
so there's lots of like
cool.
little weird things. It's and it is like the precursor to my book that I'm writing right now, which is Drop the Bullshit, which is an expansiveness of that, which is just, why do I lie to myself? What are the stories I tell? How do I get under those stories and figure out who I am beneath all this stuff? Like, I got chunks of society. Like, I always talk about it as clothes. Like, I've got this shirt that society gave me, and my pants my parents gave me, and my socks my church gave me. And, my country is my hat, like all of these different things. And we have to start peeling those off so we can get more authentic with our naked selves. Like, what am I under all of this belief that somebody else gave me?
Yes.
So I do a lot of belief work. I work with theta healing amongst other energy forms to help people become that authentic, raw, naked self and get deeper into connection with themselves. That's a lot of the like turning shit to gold. And then I also work in an Ayurvedic vein. So working with the 5 elements and teaching people, I call it common sense consciousness, because once you understand your equation of the elements and you understand what this cup and what's in its equation is, you can make a better decision on everything. What you want the cup to be made out of, what color you want the cup to be, what do you want to put in the cup, what temperature do you want to put, like all of these things actually shift where we are at a balance level, where our equilibrium is every single day. So if you can wake up in the morning, put your feet on the ground and go, where am I today? Where's my fire? Where's my water? Where's my earth? Okay, that's where I'm at. I need to make this decision. This is how I'm going to drive to work, or this is how I'm going to get to work. This is the person I'm going to avoid at work. This is the person I'm going to gravitate towards. I'm going to wear this color. Do I want to wear granny panties today, or do I want to wear that sexy G-string? Nobody's going to see it. It doesn't matter. It's about how it makes you feel. Mm-hmm. So it is always coming back to that feeling, like, what am I creating in every aspect? So I use Ayurveda in that way with people to teach them how to be more comfortable in their own body and how to drive their day in a different way. And then I wrote a book about that called The Conscious Alcoholic. Not all the way about that, but it's about the 5 elements, and then how you can, if you're going to have a cocktail, it should be something that pulls you closer to balance as opposed to further away from balance. So it's like there's 5 spirits, there's 5 elements. So, do I need to have a whiskey or do I need to have a vodka? They're going to react in your body very differently. They're going to take your brain to a very different place. They're going to make you feel different the next day in a very different way. So just understanding, like, when you are going out to be with a group of people, taking into account your mood, what you've done that day, what you need to do afterwards, what the room is like, is it like real quiet and chill? Or is it a crazy club? Like, if it's really loud, you don't want to have bubbles because it's more of that energy. It's going to take you into that place. I mean, maybe if you're going through some depression, that might be helpful. Just like you have the vibe of the loudness and the vibe of the bubbles, but it's all about intention and feeling and living as authentically as possible.
I love it. Oh my gosh. And because we talked about decluttering and because I'm trying to edit my podcast as little as possible, I'm going to talk quickly about my decluttering services. So I service people in the Metro Detroit, kind of Southeast Michigan area. If you're local, with in-person, safe, gloved, masked decluttering. But if you also are like, well, I live nowhere near you, or I don't want you in my house, but I still want support, I do have a monthly decluttering subscription where we use a video chat and you have unlimited access to me to ask questions and get support as you're working on your different decluttering projects. So if you want more info about any of that, you can DM me on Instagram or Facebook, or you can email me, charlotte@charlottekayecoach.com. And then we also have Sahara's links in either the caption if you're on Facebook or in the show notes if you're listening on the podcast. But other than that, thank you so much. This has been amazing. Everyone go check her out because she's got like a bunch of really interesting, varied, lovely things that she talks about and puts out in the world. So I'm sure we could talk for another hour, but thank you so much for coming on and for interviewing me.
Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.